In 1607, English colonial settlers sign up with the Virginia Company to set sail for the New World in hope of finding adventure and fortune. The two most prominent people coming on this voyage were the greedy Governor Ratcliffe and the famous Captain John Smith, who would help explore and fight the natives. This voyage will establish the founding of Jamestown. While at sea, their ship encounters a bad storm and inexperienced Thomas is thrown overboard. John Smith dives into the sea to rescue Thomas from the turbulent waters. Lesson 1. Good men risk their lives for others. Despite being famous, John Smith didn't let it go to his head and didn't see himself as more important than his fellow crewmates. He was willing to risk his own life in order to save Thomas. Lesson 2. Don't think more highly of yourself than you should. In the New World, Native Americans have a tight community that works well together to provide for their needs. Everyone knows they need to contribute in some way to the tribe. Lesson 3. Good citizens contribute to their community. Whether it's collecting food, scaring away pests, teaching younglings, scouting for dangers, or leading others, everyone can contribute something for the good of the tribe. Pocahontas is the free-spirited daughter of Chief Powhatan who enjoys spending time in nature with her animal friends Meeko the raccoon and Flick the hummingbird. Pocahontas' best friend from the tribe is Nakoma. Lesson 4. Friendships are important in life. Kocoum is strong, brave, and one of the best-looking men in the tribe, but unfortunately takes himself in life too seriously. Lesson 5. Don't forget to have fun. Kocoum wants to marry Pocahontas, but his serious approach to life does not make him very attractive to her. There is a time to be serious, but don't forget to let up a little sometimes. Pocahontas feels conflicted with her father's desire for her to pick the smooth and steady fork in the river and to marry Kocoum, but she feels drawn to a more adventurous life just around the river bend. Lesson 6. Listen to advice, but listen to your own voice too. There is something valuable in her dad's advice to seek what is steady and sure. But she also wonders what is just around the river bend. Pocahontas often visits Grandmother Willow for advice and wise words. She tells Grandmother Willow about a dream with strange clouds and a spinning arrow. Lesson 7. Wise advice from friends and elders is invaluable. Pocahontas asks Grandmother Willow, "Where do I go from here?" Grandmother Willow doesn't have a definite answer for her, but simply talking through it helps Pocahontas. Pocahontas feels the wind moving differently and climbs the tree to see strange clouds just like in her dream. She has a feeling that life is about to change. When John Smith comes ashore to scout out the land, he impresses Pocahontas when he makes friends with Meeko. Lesson 8. Try to make friends wherever you go. You never know when new friendships will help you later. When Governor Ratcliffe arrives, he claims the land for the founding of Jamestown. Besides starting to build a fort, he also assigns men to start digging for gold. Ratcliffe is greedy for gold and riches, and this wrong desire will cause many bad things to happen. Lesson 9. Greed is the root of all kinds of evil. Many people will be hurt because of this lust for riches. John Smith, on the other hand, is excited about exploring new lands and having adventure. He's not here for the gold. As he explores, however, he is followed by Pocahontas. When they first meet, something seems to stir them. Initially afraid, Pocahontas runs down to her canoe, but when John Smith offers her a hand of friendship, she listens to the stirring of the wind and comes back ashore to speak more with him. Lesson 10. Be welcoming to strangers. Meeting new people can be intimidating, but you never know what new friendship can start from it. The meeting between John and Pocahontas is a beautiful example of how to introduce yourself to someone who is different. In stark contrast to that, the first meeting between the colonists and the natives does not go well. This will unfortunately only promote fear and distrust between the two groups. Lesson 11. Escalation easily happens during conflicts. If only the two groups can realize they can learn a lot from each other, they might try to work toward peace. Meanwhile, Pocahontas and John Smith continue to introduce themselves and try to have a willingness to learn from each other. Initially, he assumes that he has the superior culture and will be able to teach Pocahontas and her savages many things. But after seeing how insulted Pocahontas was by his condescending attitude, he is willing to listen to Pocahontas. Beyond the myth of what he heard about these savages, he could finally learn the truth of who they are. Lesson 12. Never assume you are better than someone else. As it turns out, Pocahontas and her tribe had much more to teach John Smith and the colonists than they would ever know. Pocahontas invites John Smith to view the world in a different way, and he realizes that there are so many things he never knew. Lesson 13. Approach others with humility and a willingness to learn from them. Whether it was how to live as a caretaker of nature or to paint with the color of the wind, John sees now that there are many things he can learn. Meanwhile, greedy Ratcliffe is frustrated in not finding any gold, and now thinks that the Indians have it and has made up his mind to go to war with them. Both Pocahontas and John try to convince their people that they don't need to fight each other, but their pleas for peace are not heard. Lesson 14. Blessed are the peacemakers. Even though peacemaking isn't always successful, it is always worth the effort. Now realizing that their own people are preparing to fight each other, Pocahontas and John Smith meet together, and she takes him to Grandmother Willow. Unfortunately, they are both followed. In their desperation with their situation, Grandmother Willow has a lesson for them. Lesson 14. Brave actions can have a ripple effect. Realizing their love for each other, John Smith and Pocahontas kiss, which is seen by Kocoum and Thomas. Kocoum, in a fit of jealousy, rushes over and starts to fight with John. Thomas intervenes in the fight and kills Kocoum. When the other natives come, they assume that John killed Kocoum and take him captive back to the tribe. Pocahontas tells her friend how she feels that it's her fault. Pocahontas talks with John Smith and expresses regret over ever getting to know him. But John feels differently. He tells her, "I can't imagine living a life as if I never knew you." Trying to reassure her about the future, he tells her, "I'll always be with you." Meanwhile, both the natives and the colonists are claiming that the others are savages, and they prepare for war and get all their gear on to get ready for the confrontation with the other savages. It's amazing how so many misunderstandings have compounded and have built up this much. Lesson 15. Sort out misunderstandings before rushing to fight. Both groups could have avoided getting this far if they would have tried harder to understand each other. Pocahontas meets with Grandmother Willow and is wondering again, where do I go from here? Miko gives Pocahontas the compass, and the wind starts blowing it so it spins just like in the dream she had before. When the compass stops spinning, she realizes the direction she needs to go and what to do. The colonists and the natives are marching for a final showdown between the two of them. Pocahontas, meanwhile, is trying to run as fast as she can before something happens. She gets there just in time to stop her father. Pocahontas saves John Smith and tells her father that she loves him. Her father now hesitates, but after some reflection, he realizes what he must do. He decides to spare John's life and stop the whole battle from happening. The two sides start to put down their weapons. But greedy Ratcliffe isn't done yet, and he takes a musket and shoots at the chief. John Smith sees it coming and jumps in front of the chief to protect his life. Lesson 16. The greatest act of love is to sacrifice oneself for another. John Smith shows the natives that he is truly a friend, and that not all of them are savages. John Smith is badly wounded and needs to go back to England. Before he goes, the Indians bring gifts to show their gratitude for what he did for their chief. Lesson 17. Sometimes peacemaking requires more bravery than fighting. John Smith and Pocahontas showed great bravery and were able to stop their people from fighting each other. Pocahontas talks with John Smith one last time and tells her that I'll always be with you. As John Smith leaves by ship, Pocahontas rushes to a cliff edge to wave goodbye. As she does so, the colors of the wind rush by and help give the ship an extra push to make its journey back to England. Lesson 18. Goodbyes are hard, but our memories will always be with us. The end.